Ho ho ho! Welcome to another episode of the one and only Fins to Forest. I have everybody's favorite thing, a special guest. But this is an even more special guest than usual. This is family. Family. Blood is thicker than water, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
So, here, join me to wrap up our deer season episode is the one and only Logie Bear. Mr. Logan Fusen.
What's up, guys?
At _ Logie's Bear _ right?
At Logies _ Bears on all socials.
There you go.
Yep.
Including
twitch.tv/Logies _ Bears.
He's a Twitcher.
So if you guys are into video games, look me up there.
It's very entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Trending on TikTok.
Yep.
Has been for weeks. Anyways, we're here today. We can talk about some. We'll do that at the end.
We got all sorts of stuff to talk about.
We got plenty of ground to cover, and we got all the time in the world to do it because it's the day after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
This is the
Boxing Day.
Boxing Day,
as the Canadians celebrate. Yep.
Really?
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yep.
It's Happy Boxing Day, or is it Merry
fellows from the north?
May Boxing. I don't know how they talk.
It's they talk about hockey.
May Boxing Day. No, that's Merry Boxing Day.
Merry Boxing Day
to all that celebrate Boxing Day.
Yep.
So the main topic today is to wrap up deer season, and the reason Logan is here is because Logan hunts the same lease that I hunt,
and we have for years.
He's hunted it longer than I have, but it's just another perspective on the same piece of property, and it's just more fun when there's other people here.
Yeah.
So,
and I look good.
And he looks good.
Yeah.
He's never not. So we'll just start off with that. So we'll start off with this. Oh, actually, no. We'll start off with our verse of the day. This is a great one today. So with it being the new year, and between the new year and this being Fins Forest, this is just the perfect one for today. This is Isaiah 43, 18 through 19. It says this: Remember not the former things, 2020, nor consider the things of old. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. How perfect is that? So that is Isaiah 43, 18 through 19. That is, insert sound clip here. Your verse of the day. I should do that. I'll try to remember to do that. Okay. But anyways, Isaiah 43, 18 through 19. Fitting for the new year. And hopefully 2020 will be a thing of old before we know it. But this is the kind of the calm before the storm this week. Christmas is over. My fiance, halfway wife,
we got a big week.
She doesn't really like being called that. We got legally married. Peep the groove ring. But our wedding ceremony is January 2nd. So her parents, sister, and grandparents are flying in tomorrow morning. And then it will be a week of wedding prep before the big day on the 2nd. So we had to get together and make use of the time we have today. So we'll start off with this. What do we kill? All the deer we both killed came from the same lease. It's about 300-ish, 400-ish acres, if you include the public land that's next to it, probably. But they know what I've killed.
So
what did you kill?
I have not killed in probably 2 years. And it's really honestly lack of trying. I haven't been that much in the past 2 years.
Fair.
If I get a shot, I'm a dead eye. I'm gonna put him down. So I haven't gotten a shot in the last 2 years. But this year, I was very fortunate. And let's see, the first time I went this year was deer and gun, and I got a 4-pointer out in the big field from about 250 yards.
Boom.
Snipe them. And then
no scope, actually.
a little video game reference. No scope 360.
Yeah.
But then the next morning, I got a doe in field 3.
As we affectionately call it.
At about 9:30, and that's all she wrote. So pretty good harvest this year, in my opinion.
For you hunted what, 2 days?
Yeah.
2 days out there? Perfect. Yeah, I had a video of me talking, and I didn't put this in any of the YouTube videos, but I was sitting there talking right before I walked into the big field, and I heard somebody shooting. I was like, that had to be Logan. It's like, that was not far at all. And it was. That was his dope. But anyways, So Logan killed the 4-pointer, killed a doe. I killed 3 does. 1 deer and bow, 1 deer and muzzleloader, 1 deer and gun.
Which I call that the Holy Trinity.
Some easy. We may be treading on sacrilege.
Yeah, you're right.
But I thought that was cool. Last year, I think it was last year. It was kind of one of my goals to start that year was to kill 1 deer in all 3 seasons, and I did. And so I can say I did 2 years in a row. However, all 6 of those deer were does, which is fine. They eat the same. They eat the same.
They do.
Of course, I told the big buck story, missing that one, but I finally saw a lot of deer that last weekend. Morning hunt saw 5 or 6, and I had another. I didn't even reference this in any of the videos. Sitting in the funnel, the last morning that I hunted, which was I guess on Saturday, the Saturday before Christmas, before I came back and got geared up for Christmas, but sitting just on another cedar tree in the ground, and had another doe that walked. I heard her coming, and there's a little hill right in front of me, and I knew I'm like, well, she's gonna. Yep. I'm gonna see her when she's 10 yards away. Yep. And sure enough, she pops up and she's looking right at me. And she's probably 8 or 10 yards and did the little.
But trying to make you move.
Yeah. But of course, she knew I couldn't kill her because you get 1 doe, deer, and gun. And I'd killed the doe the day before. And so she knew I didn't kill her, so she didn't care. She just walked about a 10-yard circle, half circle around me, and then walked up out of the field. I'm like, if this was any other deer at any other time, I'd have been toast. But so that was fun. I got to see a lot of deer really close sitting on the ground during gun, which makes me think I probably ought to do that more during bow. Just get right on top of them. It would have made for some cool. There would have been a couple I could have killed with a bow from a ground that I had on me during gun, which would have been cool to do. So I'm definitely planning on trying to do that more this next year. But that's what we killed. If you're into the killing stuff, all 3 of mine actually I didn't get the video of me shooting the last one, but all 3 of them are up on YouTube. I just put up the last video this week.
Let's go.
And yeah, so if you like watching deer get shot and recovered, you should watch it. Check it out. But all right, so Logan and I are very similar in our goals, steps we would like to.
And it's so funny because we didn't talk to each other about this beforehand. We just both had this same idea. And then we talked about it. Like, we both wanted to do the same thing without communicating with each other.
Because he texted me one night and said, what did you ask me about, the burns?
Yeah.
He's like, have you ever heard of prescribed fire? Like, doing burns? And I was like, yeah. I wanted to do that for 2 years. And now, are we going to be any more capable of doing this now that we've had this idea? Maybe not.
Maybe.
But now we're a joint force trying to get the same thing done. So, what have we learned about the property this year? I kind of got ahead of ourselves. We'll just talk about what we're talking about.
Come on.
Our goals. Let's talk about our goals. We can kind of blend these together like a rainbow, if you will.
Because they go together.
Yeah. So, fire.
Yes.
We would love to burn the big field.
And I just learned about burning a couple months ago.
Yeah.
I didn't even know about it.
Because your roommate.
What's your roommate? Shout out Robbie.
Hey, Robbie.
If you're listening, shout out Robbie. But he is a wildlife fisheries major, and I'm not sure exactly what he's focused in, but he is a licensed, I don't know exactly what the title is, but he is licensed to burn in the state of Tennessee.
I was wondering if he had some sort of actual.
Yeah, he's been in the field. He's done it firsthand. So, and he brought it up to me.
Yeah.
And I had no idea anything. Like, I knew what succession was and the idea behind it, but I never thought about invasive grasses or invasive bushes or trees or stuff like that being in the field. So when he told me about it, I got really excited about it because all we do is bush hog. Yeah. We've never tilled it up or burned it or anything. I mean, other than the food plots we till up, but yeah. And I heard about fire from watching the Growing Deer TV stuff the last few years. So I've wanted to do it, but one, we don't own the land, and that's a big problem.
And which is the main hindrance to us being able to do this. Although we really haven't asked yet. We haven't figured out if we really can do it.
Right. And the other people on the lease is a little bit of an issue as well.
Right.
I wouldn't say maybe not an issue, but it's definitely going to be a hurdle.
It'll be a foreign idea, I think, to them. Let's bring up, hey, why don't we set the big field on fire? Let's burn it down. I think it would really help I think it would really help the wildlife.
Because I mean, they
we set the field on fire.
Yeah, I mean they've bush hogged it for
20 years. Yeah.
So
so the problem is, well, there's a couple of problems that were more prevalent this year than in years past. With the bush hogging, what normally happens is the entire. So when we say big field, this field's about 20 acres. I think I mapped it out before. It's around 20 acres. It's essentially is a big bowl. It's a 20-acre bowl, and it's got one finger of trees that runs out into the middle of it, and the rest of it's very wide open. You can stand on one tree line, see down the bowl, and up to the other side in most places. And in the past, this is probably my 5th year or so having hunted there, 5th or 6th, or at least haven't been there. And this was the worst year 2 or 3 times over as far as seeing deer goes. At least for me. Have you ever seen that?
Well, so like I said, I only went twice this year, and I saw more deer in 2 days than I think all you of us and my dad saw the whole year.
How many deer did you see in the big field?
3, 4, 5.
Really?
Or in the big field, I saw 2, but in field 3, I saw 5.
What other deer was in the big field? Was it doe?
It was that spike that it's always been in there all year.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That's been that. One of those spikes has been in the video. I saw one that was busted off.
I think it
had one horn.
I think it may have been that same spike. Because I was sitting at the cemetery.
Yeah.
And it was 300 yards away from me.
Okay. Yeah, I sat. I think every time I hunted the big field, except for 2 or 3 times, I sat like in one of those little cedar tree clumps in between the cemetery and the campsite. And he walked out. It wasn't the last time I went, but it's the last 2 or 3 trips.
Yeah.
And he walked out. He was real close. And I hadn't killed that last doe, and I took the safety off 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
and
I mean, that thing's walked right in front of us.
This is a stupid spike.
Yes,
and I couldn't tell if he had broken off the other horn or if he just had one horn.
Yeah,
and I'm like, if you just got one horn, one antler, would probably kill. And then I could see better on the video after the fact. He did just break it off, and then another spot came out. But even when I left that night, I left with just a little bit of daylight in case I jumped something or saw something. And they just ran from the campsite plot down to the cedar tree, and they just stood there and just watched me leave. And even then, I just set up on the backpack, and I'm like, God, I would just, and I took it off to, I was like, I won't do it. But it's like, if I come back this last weekend and I haven't killed one, I'm going to kill one, which luckily I did. But in what normally happens with the big field is every other year after deer season's over, the landowner pays somebody to come and bush hog the whole property, like just cut it down to nothing. And which has always been fine because the food plots still have late season food in them.
Yep.
And we're not hunting anymore.
Right.
So we don't care if everything's exposed and the deer don't like to be in it. What happened this year was it had been 2 years, and at one point since I've been there, it went longer than normal, and some big brush turned into trees that couldn't get bush hogged. And so there's a whole new crop of probably 3-year-old trees that are, Lord, 30, 40 feet high.
They're tall.
They're weird. I don't know what they are. That have sprung up in the middle of the big field that weren't there 5 years ago.
They have no business being there.
Yeah, they're not good for anything.
Right.
They don't produce any mast or do anything helpful at all other than I guess it would give you cover if you're trying to sneak from a side. But it's stupid. We'd rather not do that. And normally the big field gets bush hogged by us being the people that lease it. In the summertime, a few weeks before season starts, we don't bush hog the whole thing. We just bush hog. It's essentially like a tire and like wheel spokes going out. Yeah. There's like 5 or 6. You cut out the middle, and then you got 5 or 6 trails that lead to the different food plots and the different little exits. And they're in it all the time. Like you can't sit in the big field for a day and not see deer.
They walk right down the big old shooting lanes.
Yeah, it is perfect.
Yeah.
And even the most deer that I've ever seen I saw more deer last year than I've seen before. But a lot of that was in the big field during bow season, and you can sit there, and even at 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning in October, early October, that way you'd see groups, 3 or 4 does come through, a couple bucks come through. But what happened this year that I really think was the main thing that screwed us over. There's 2 big things that, as far as our deer sightings go, I think messed up. Which one, we bush hogged the opening weekend of bow season, and the guy came in and bush hogged everything. It looked like a barren wasteland.
Yeah.
It was really like you didn't even want to hunt it. because I didn't want to hunt it because I never felt like if
I
was a deer, why would I never go in it?
Walk in there.
Because the food plots were really intended to be late season food plots, which is when we see the deer use them anyways. Yeah. And like oats and clover and turnips, oats, and clover are the main things that were in there. Yeah. Love or clover. Clover everywhere. Lots of clover. And they'll get the clover, but they never got in those food plots at all. And I think they weren't ever we never even saw deer in the big field. And we've talked about it. The fact they just don't have any cover.
Yeah.
It's 20 acres. And we don't have the deer population to where they have to expose themselves like that.
Yeah.
Like at my buddy's place in Rutherford County in Unadale, they've got a ton of deer. And last year when I killed that buck, I shot a doe the day before, saw lots of does the day before, and they'd just come strutting across the middle of the hayfield. And they'd be a little bit on edge, but it's like there's so many deer out there. There are going to be deer that do that. And we don't have that. We've got deer.
Yeah, but they're not overflowing. That's why we can't kill 3 does a day.
Right.
That's the difference between us and Unadale.
We're on the line. You look at DeKalb County, DeKalb, whatever, and then the next county to the left of it is Unadale County.
Yeah.
But we don't need to be in Unadale just because we don't have that many deer. And the other thing is that there had to have been, and I saw quite a few, but just a massive acorn crop to where they never had to come up to the food plots any earlier than they did. Because there were the doe that I shot last weekend, my one gun doe, she was full of acorns. That's all she'd been eating. And it was December, 20th, 21st, 20th, whatever that was. She was full of acorns because she was quartering away, and I clipped the front of the stomach, and it was like sandpaper in it. Just blown it. That's all she had. But that kind of goes hand in hand with one of the biggest things that I learned this year is how much those deer, our property essentially has just got a lot of steep, the whole back half of it, our whole back property line is just a steep drop off to the lake.
Yeah.
To a big lake.
Yeah.
And and we've always heard from Roe, they're in those acorns down by the lake. They stay in those oaks down by the lake. Well, they do. Shocker.
They really do.
They really do.
Especially if they have no incentive to come into the food plots.
Right.
So.
None at all. And.
Yeah, when they have no cover and plenty of acorns down at the lake, they're not going to come up to the food plots.
I think I'd prefer not to expose myself in broad daylight hours. And they just don't have to go anywhere. Well, actually, that's something else I learned. We'll get to that in a minute. So, just because the only mature bucks I saw and where all the deer I saw were the closer I got to the lake and the steeper the terrain got, that last flat terrain break is where I saw all the sign and all the deer that I saw for the most part. None of it was in the fields. The only deer that the only deer that I ever encountered in one of our fields there was a buck that I ran into in the dark walking out of Lost Feeder, 2 spikes in the big field. I only saw 2 deer in the big field the entire year.
Yeah. I did too.
The entire year.
And one of them was the same deer that everybody's seen all year.
And I hunted it a lot. Not a lot. Normally it's one of those places where if you're like, I just want to see some deer.
Yeah, if you don't know where to go.
Yeah, it's
just go to the big field. You'll see something.
Wind's not good there. I just came from here. Not really feeling that. Not sun here. Let's just go sit in the big field, and you can at least see deer.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Not this year.
Not this year. But so we would love to burn it, now, or early spring.
What I had talked with Robbie about was come up with a plan where you burn parts of it. In the spring, you'll burn this little area and then this little area, and then in the summer, you'll burn this area and this area. Come up with a plan for it. But
I would love. What we need to do is get a hold of Roe, let him talk to Jamie, the landowner, and say, we got a professional. We have a licensed professional that we will pay to come out there and burn if you'll let us burn. Because they don't use it for anything.
Right.
The landowner, which is amazing to me, which is fortunate that they don't, we kind of have
free reign of it. They're turning it into hay or something.
Right. And I don't know why they don't. Because, Lord, they've got 30, 40 acres of hayfield they could use. and I don't really know what that would come up to being worth in hay, but because I've never done hay, but I don't know. But they've got all this land, and it's just kind of like, yeah, whatever y'all want to do as far as the food plots and hunting stuff goes. But so maybe they would be down for it, but at least burn half of it. And it's like, let us burn.
Let me show you
what it'll do
that we can do this.
Yeah. And like, let us show you the good it'll do,
and that's not even to mention what we're wanting to do in the woods, chopping down some trees and opening up the woods a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of
there's just so much that you'd love to. You know what I mean? There's always something you want to do.
Which is the whole. Oh man, I talk to Dana, my almost wife, all the time about. Like I've got two savings accounts that are like invested in mutual funds. Like, babe, I'm making this contribution every month. Like that's our 400-acre piece of farm wherever we go, because I want to have like I was like, I'll buy the crappiest 400 acres we can find. I was like, I want to be able to do essentially what the Growing Deer guys did. What Grant, anybody, I'm sure you've heard Grant Woods if you listen to this. But if not, it's Growing Deer TV. What they did with, and I don't know how much land they have. They probably have over 1,000 acres. It seems like a lot, but it was just regular piece of land. They've done all this stuff over the years, making bedding and doing, just everything and managing it how they want to. It's like, that's what I want. I want to do a play. And I found before I met Dana, before I was like seriously into the relationship with Dana, I spent all my free time at school on my plan period on landandfarm.com. And there's a piece, it may still be for sale, but it's 400 acres in Kentucky. It's a part of what was an old strip mine that's $200,000. It's got this massive insulated workshop there that I was going to live in. I was like, as soon as I get this first year full-time work on it, it's like, I'm moving to Kentucky.
We never see you again.
It's in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, this is perfect. But then, better things happen. Isn't that right, honey? Yeah. Better things happen.
She said yeah.
Oh, did she?
No.
Yeah. Isn't that right? Oh, she had her AirPods in. She got AirPods for Christmas. Anyways, that's one of the goals. And if I win a couple of Bassmaster Classics, and that affords the ability to do that earlier, that'd be even perfect. I don't care where it is, because there's deer everywhere. Anyways, so yeah, I'll text Ro before you leave. Say, Ro, got an idea.
We got a crazy idea.
We got an idea. Let's talk about it. Because our big hurdle, obviously, is that we're 24 and 21.
Right. 22, yeah.
22,
yeah.
sorry.
It's all right. Same thing.
Yeah. And we don't have tractors and plows and discs and
or the money
drills or money. Like, we don't have that.
Yeah.
Flatbed trailers take all the equipment with. So as far as some of that stuff goes, we're kind of at the mercy of everybody that has that equipment and when they can go. But I will say, and one of my goals is that if I have to take a lawnmower this year in February and March and go keep our food plots cut down, I will, because of the turkeys. If I've seen turkeys in every video. I counted, I think it was 31 turkeys in the big field at one point. And there was a whole other group that came out late. I mean, it's ridiculous when it's cut down, and they've been in there all day, every day. You at least hear them. Yeah. And last year, the one time we did go and turkey hunt, everything was grown up. It's all chest high, and they just aren't in it because they can't see, and that's where the green stuff would be. But if we can keep that oats and clover cut down just long enough to make it to turkey season, the first couple weekends, go out there and kill. I don't even know how many turkeys you're allowed to kill, but kill that many, because Lord, you could kill them with a slingshot.
Yeah.
Real, I mean, that actually might be fun. Try to kill someone with a slingshot.
Daniel, yeah.
Like, if you would just go get a little ghillie suit and just lay down in the food plot and just wait for one to step on you. But anyways, I'll at least, I could take a lawnmower and keep it cut down just to have somewhere for the turkeys to go. Cut one lane through the middle, that'd take forever. Cut it with a lawnmower like every 2 weeks. Go to the lease with your little John Deere and don't worry, guys, I'm mowing the spokes down. But anyways, so I don't know, if it was a perfect world, what else would we do out there?
I mean, something I had mentioned it, but something I would like to do is that, and I was talking to Rob about this, is if you go into the woods and you mark an area, because you can't burn the woods, obviously.
Yeah.
You can't open it up. Well, if you go in there and you cut down like half the trees.
Yeah.
that's how you do. That's how you burn in the woods.
Yeah.
Which I think that would be really good in some areas because there's just, I mean, it's just so overwhelmingly covered with trees, I think, and that would open it up a little bit more. But other than that, that and burning is the number one thing that I would love to do.
Yeah, and I think I think burning would be an easier thing to convince people of than taking trees down.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm with you. That's another one of those like habitat things that those growing deer people is like going through and like everything that's smaller than your wrist, that ain't gonna
grow anymore.
Grow anything for you. Like it's not gonna grow acorns, it's not gonna grow persimmons or whatever. They go and I'm thinking I remember I haven't watched it in a while. They literally just go hack and squirt, cut a big dig in it, spray it with whatever pesticide, herbicide, killer thing, and let it fall. And then next year you can just go in and just push them over, and then they'll burn they'll take like leaf blowers and they'll blow out a 2 or 3 foot space around all the big trees they want to keep, and then they'll even burn the woods and get that stuff eat up, and then you've got some of that growth happening, which it would just help. I think it would help make things less random.
Yeah, because when you're bush hogging, like it would be great if people did what they said they were going to do, where you bush hog during the off season every 2 years. But the fact of the matter is that's just not how it goes.
Yeah.
People get busy, people got other stuff going on, they can't make it out there. It's been 2 days bush hogging the whole thing.
And we're in no way complaining about what people do. Lord, we're so fortunate to get to hunt out there for what we're able to do. I mean, like, it's not a super expensive lease. It's not.
Oh, we're blessed.
Not a whole. This is ideal scenario stuff. Right. 2 young dreamers that don't know any better, but so I don't know. It's fun to think about. And we've had another thing I've learned this year is how many bucks we have, and the fact that you got so many bucks, and the fact that they don't ever show themselves unless you're way down to the lake is what showed me how much they really know to stay down there. Yeah. Like they know where they're safe at. They've got the food. And we did some walking. I did some walking. Leaving the very last time, and this was in the video. I'll show you this before I leave, or before you leave. And I found probably the best looking bedding area that I've found yet. One of them, and just torn up with sign. It was probably early mid-October, so like early season sign. Because it wasn't fresh. The rubs weren't fresh, but they looked like they were about as old as some of the ones that I knew were made in early and middle October. But there's some scrapes in there, and it's the biggest scrape I've ever seen in my life. It was 3 feet wide, and it's fresh. The branches up above it are all ripped up, twisted up, hanging down, and it was just. I got in there as I was walking into it. I was like, "Crap, man!" I was like, "They live here a lot," and. Then you get down there and see all the sign. You're like, shoot. It's like, well, I'm glad I found it, but I wish I'd have found it a month ago.
Yeah.
But because that spot where I was hunting at Lost Feeder, that was one of those where when I went in there and found this spot, we would call this area Lost Feeder. I lost a feeder there about 10 years ago. We found the feeder since, but they lost it for a while. Thought somebody stole it. Turns out they did. And I'm walking through Lost Feeder, and it's scrape, 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 rub, scrape, scrape, scrape. I'm like, crap, I better hunt here. And then I saw the big buck and saw a whole bunch of little bucks and saw a bunch of does coming through them. Like, this was the first year that I've ever made it like my main goal. Like, I'm gonna hunt where the fresh sign is, and that's the only place I'm gonna hunt. Like, I'm not gonna just sit somewhere that I've always sat before, which is why I ended up hunting on the ground so much, and why I've got to get a good like mobile stand set up next year, whether it's a saddle or a stand or whatever. But it helped a ton, even though if I didn't kill any big bucks out of it, but just being around them. Like, I know I was around more big deer this year than I have been before, especially when they're not in the big field. So it proved everything correct that a lot of the guys that have hunted out there forever have said. It's just a matter of actually going down there and hunting them and getting where they're at. So I don't know. It's like, yeah, do that again next year, but just do it better.
Yeah.
So anyways, that about wraps up the hunting. Thoughts.
Yep.
Our thoughts, concerns, questions, ideas.
But not many answers.
But not a lot of answers.
Questions, not a lot of answers.
Maybe in a year from now, we'll have answers. Of things that worked, things that didn't work. Revisit this again. But for now, we'll dream and beg to burn. Beg to burn. But anyways, Fishing wise, not a whole lot. I talked about the tournament schedules that had come out last time. Still planning on fishing the volunteer BFLs and the Morristown Marines. I need to text Dylan and see if he's still on board to do the Morristowns. That'd be a dangerous combo. Me and Dylan Fair get out there in the Morristowns. We better watch out. I'm kidding, kind of. I think we could catch them though. It'd be a good team. Dylan and I have actually never fished together. I'm thinking out loud. We fished on the same college team for a few years, but I don't think we've ever actually been in the same boat. I don't think so. Anyways, only good boat news is that I have the boat back, which I think I had the boat back last time. I just hadn't taken it out yet because I was still hunting, but got the boat back and I've swapped graphs. I took my 2 Humminbirds and tried to sell them for a while because I was really wanting Garmin's, but I didn't think that I could sell my 215 Solixes and be able to afford the Garmin setup that I wanted. So I was also looking for Lowrance's once they came out with the active target or whatever the new essentially Panoptix for Lowrance is. And so then I was like, oh, if I could get some 2 carbon 12s, then put that new transducer on it, it'd be just like the Panoptix because it looks fairly similar. But I would have really preferred to have Garmin. So lo and behold, I'm perusing Facebook Marketplace. I see Garmin Panoptix bundle for sale or trade. I thought, well, that looks nice. So I click on it, and it's a EchoMap 10 and EchoMap 12. I still don't know technically what they're called. I know what the Humminbird and Lowrance stuff's called. Garmin has all the weird numbers and letters and 932V, 122V, and it's a 10 EchoMap and a 12 EchoMap. The guy at bottom new this year had a Panoptix transducer, said he just didn't use it like he had thought he would, and was wanting to trade for some Lowrance's or some new Humminbird Solixes. Well, like, have I got the deal for you? And so, sure, it was one of those things on Facebook. Well, if anybody's ever sold anything on Facebook, you know it's a nightmare. It's terrible trying to deal with people on there. But this worked out perfect. He wanted the 215 Solixes. I wanted the Garmin's and the Panoptix that he had. So, met him in Chattanooga. We swapped, got him on the boat on Christmas Eve. Everything it took me 3-4 hours, which I know a lot of people are more handy than I am. Big win for me that I was able to totally install everything on the grass by myself and not have to get somebody to throw me a bone and help me out. But got all that stuff installed, put on, and gonna try to sneak out to the lake tomorrow morning and use it for the first time, just for a couple hours, because her family's getting here, and we're getting fired up for the wedding stuff. But I gotta see I gotta play with the Panoptix a little bit. But now we've jumped to Team Garmin, not Team like I'm sponsored. Don't get the wrong impression.
No free ads.
I'm not. No free. Oh, I'll get free ads all the time. Dylan and I did a 20-minute ALX ad back in May. We're like, hey, Alex, if you're listening, we love your stuff. But we got the Garmin's now. They look slick. I like them a lot. I can already tell the touchscreen works a whole lot better than my Humminbird ones did. I can't wait to play with that Panoptix. I fish for suspended fish a lot and really don't know why I haven't gotten it yet. But I think that's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Anyways, got the Garmin's. We got the boat back. Ready to start fishing. First tournament is in like a month and a week. It's January 30th. It's December 26th now. Chickamauga is going to be here before we know it. We got Chickamauga. And then I don't know what we got after that. But, and I'm going to fish the Dale Hollow BFL in the Music City division just to go hang out with Elliot, Tanner, Matt, some friends of mine from college that fish the Music City. I was going to fish all of them, but it's not going to work with some weddings and stuff going on or with some other friends. But at least going to go fish Dale Hollow because that's at the end of spring break. So I can go and spend all spring break fishing Dale Hollow, which I really never fished but 2 or 3 times the whole 4 years I was in college, which is a shame. But anyways, I think that's it. Merch? Except for, yeah.
Can't forget it.
Well, and your video game. Well, I want to talk about your Twitch stuff too. We'll finish with the Twitch stuff. Look here. I've gotten Christmas gifts from Dana and my cousin Mackenzie, Mackenzie actually, is the one that designed the Fences Force logo. And they both, Dana got me hats, and Mackenzie got a sweatshirt made. Or not got it made, she made it. She has her own screen printer, the one that designed the logo. Also screen printed on the hoodie and some neck gaiters, which is cool. And that's helpful because I've been planning in probably late January, February this year, doing the first, if you want to call it this, a merch launch, and looking at probably long sleeve shirts and hats, like one hat color. Don't do anything, not anything crazy, nothing too complicated. But one hat, probably that's in the other room. But a black and gray hat with the leather patch, and then a long sleeve shirt that's got the logo on the back. So be on the lookout if that interests you in the least. It's coming soon. If you follow the Instagram page, either mine, which is just Sam Karras, or the podcast, which is Vintage Forest, they'll both be on there. We're going to do like a 2-week pre-sale and get the orders in, and then get the orders placed and ship them out. That'd be awesome. It'd be fun. And maybe it'll help us pay for a couple of BFL entry fees. That'd be awesome. But anyways, that's coming right around the corner. And that's exciting. Mainly because I'm a little bit selfish, and I just think it looks cool. And I like having the podcast on hand. So anyways, so that's my social media. We'll talk about New Year's goals later. Oh, the next podcast, y'all are in for a treat. It's going to be me and the groomsmen telling stories on each other from the last 4 years while we're at the cabin the night before the wedding.
Oh, that's going to be
It's going to be the one and only Lucas Pruitt, Elliot Lee, Caleb Lazatter, my brother, Logan. Are you still planning on coming? Yeah. Logan's going to be there. Other cousin Mason's going to be there. And it's just going to be a round table story time where we're just going to tell
the tell-all.
The boys tell all. But not before the wedding. That's gonna be. I'm just as excited almost. I'm like just a hair less excited than actually getting married to have just everybody there in the same place.
It's gonna be a good time.
We've all got a cabin for 2 or 3 nights, and it'll be fun. It'll be fun. So that's the next one, and then we can go over goals for next year. But my goals revolve around the Vintage Forest channel and the podcast, and my own personal fishing ventures. Logan has his own deal.
I do.
A Twitch deal.
Yeah.
So what do you play?
I play. So for those of you guys might not know what Twitch is. It's basically a streaming platform. Well, it's like you can watch somebody play video games live is primarily what it's used for. And that's what I use it for. So I play anything from Rainbow Six Siege to Fortnite to Minecraft. Literally almost any game you can think of.
Fortnite's made a comeback, right?
Fortnite's back. People are saying.
I've been seeing it more on TikTok and things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I play video games all the time. Like I stream just about every day, if not every other day, for like 5 hours, and we just come hang out, and watch us play some video games, get involved in chat.
So when you see. How does that work for people people sub to you? Like
you can sub it. You can sub's totally optional. Like it's like watching a YouTube video. Like you can watch a YouTube video, but the difference between YouTube and Twitch is when you subscribe on Twitch, it's either $5 or you have a free Twitch Prime sub available with if you have Amazon Prime. So you can subscribe to somebody for free through your Amazon Prime account.
But normally when people people pay to subscribe.
Yeah. But you don't have to subscribe to watch or chat or anything.
Okay. Like so it's just like if I got somebody playing games that I think is
and you think
killer,
awesome,
and I think I love watching their stuff. I'm like, that's kind of their way to support.
Yes, you can do that. You can sub or donate or
Well, that makes sense because I see on some of your stuff where you're like, the next 5 subs or like the next sub gets a whatever.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. So. Very cool.
Yeah, but Twitch.tv /Logies_Bears and Logies_Bears on all socials. So y'all drop me a follow and hang out and chat. Yeah.
We got all sorts of stuff.
We do.
We cover all bases.
We really, really do.
This is a welcoming environment. But that's awesome. Very cool.
Well, Sam, I appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no problem, man.
This has been a joy.
It's been a long time coming, really. I can't believe I haven't been on an episode already. It's just we've tried to work it out before.
Yeah.
We've both been busy. I couldn't make it over
here. We're both not new college student, but still in college.
Mm-hmm. We're very busy.
We got a lot of stuff going on. And we see each other during deer season and on the holidays more than any other time.
Yeah.
Or when my mother has a book she needs to get dropped off at their house. But now you're going to be on 2 in a row.
Let's go.
So. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, thank you.
Vintage Forest, if you enjoy it, subscribe on whatever platform you've listened to.
Ring those bells, people.
And on YouTube.
Yep.
We've got one of the goals. I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans a little bit. This is not any beans. This is more like just paste. But on Instagram and YouTube. Posts coming every day in 2021. That's the goal. On personal page, Vince Force page, and YouTube. Between those 3 platforms, there's going to be a post every single day on something. That's the goal. Get the word out. I got to spread the word. Spread the word to grow the word. Words Vince Forrest. All right. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful 26th evening, or what? Actually, don't. It's probably not the 26th. Actually, 99% of you are not listening to this on the 26th. You're listening to this at an undetermined day in the future. And for that, we thank you. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you. And we'll see y'all at the cabin. I should just end it right there. Bye.